What's up, Stone Squads? Our next lesson is radical and rational expressions. We're going to talk about the two different forms. So radical just means it's a root. So where have we heard root? We heard it with square roots, cube roots, and so forth. And then rational just means that the exponent is a fraction. So for example, it'd be like x to the 1/2 power. That's what rational means. So the rule that you need to understand is that if you have some value a, and then we take it to the m over n power, then that means that the n represents the root, and the m represents the power. So I'm going to say that a lot. Power over root, power over root. So the power is your m, n is your root. So denominator of the fraction is always going to be your root. So say that 3 times. Power over root, power over root, power over root. Go. So our first example, I want you to write as a rational expression. Write as a rational expression. So if you have this, I want you to write it as a rational expression. So we're going backwards now. So what is my root? Well, this is a squared root. So 2 is my root. So that means root is your denominator. So it's going to be x to the 1/2 power. Okay, the 1, technically it's to the 1 power. You don't see it, but it's technically there, so we have to put that in the numerator. Next example. If I give you this, and I want you to write that as a radical expression now. Let's go backwards. Expression. So if it's a radical expression, which one's my power, which one's my root? Power over root, power over root. 2 is my power, 3 is my root. So it's going to be the cube root of x, and we're going to take all of that and we're going to square that. So we're coming back to this theme of power over root. Okay? So a couple other properties that you need to remember. So the multiplication one, if you multiply 2 values, a times b, and square rooted, then we could technically split them up and look at them individually, take the roots of both of them. Vice versa, if we have a fraction, we're taking the square root of that, we could split it up to the numerator, to the denominator. So these 2 rules, we'll come back to these rules again. So let's take an example. Solve 27 to the 4/3 power. So which one is my power? Which one is my root? Is 4 my power, 3 my root, or is 3 my power and 4 is my root? So what do you guys think? Good. So 3 is my root, 4 is my power. So that we have the cube root of 27. And we're going to take that to the 4th power. So let's do this inside first. So cube root means what times what times what gives you 27. What is the same value that gives you, multiply 3 times by itself will give you 27. That's 3. 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 3 is 27. We're going to take it to the 4th root, or 4th power, so then we get 81. Why? Because we have 3 times 3 times 3 times 3, or 9 times 9, which is 81. Alright, so that's the example we're going to use. I'm going to do 2 more examples for radical and rational expressions that I want to try together before we move on to the basics, basic, intermediate, and advanced levels. So 81 to the 3/4 power. Which one's my power? Which one's my root? P over r, p over r, p over r. So power over root. So to rearrange this, you should write it as this. 4th root of 81, quantity to the 3rd power. So what times what times what times what gives you 81? That's 3. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 9 is 81. And then 3 cubed, 3 times 3 is 9, 9 times 3 is 27. So that is your answer there. Alright. As long as you understand power over root, which one's my power, which one's my root, everything else you guys have been doing this before. The hardest part is which one's my power, which one's my root. Okay, so number 2, let's try that. Once again, which one's my power, which one's my root? So 3 is my power, 5 is my root. So it's the 5th root of 32 cubed. So what times what times what times what times what is 32? It's 2. And then from there, you get 2 cubed, which tells you what? 2 times 2 times 2, which is 8. Alright, so the most important part, once again, power over root, P over R. Once you remember that, once you understand that, then you just have to rearrange it. So rearrange these guys from a rational to radical form, and then we just solve from there. Alright, great job. So yes, that's radical rational expressions. We're going to do 3 examples. Your beginner, intermediate, and advanced level right now. Alright, you guys ready for our first problem? Your beginner problem. Negative 36 to the 3/2 problem. So which one's my power? Which one's my root? And then I want you to evaluate it. Evaluate just means solve. I'm going to give you 30 seconds. Try your best. Look at your notes and go. Alright, let's try this. So which one's my power? Which one's my root? 3 is my power, 2 is my root. So it's the square root of negative 36. And we're going to cube it. But what is the square root of negative? Can we do that? We actually can't. So this one actually has no solution. Try to trick you a little bit on our beginning problem. Right, check your answers. Remember, you can never take an even root to a negative value. Alright, intermediate problem. Let's try this problem. 32 to the 3/5 power. 32 to the 3/5 power. Once again, which one's my power, which one's my root? And solve it. I'm going to give you about 30 seconds to a minute. And just try your best. Look at your notes once again. And go. Alright, welcome back. Let's take a look. 3 is my power, 5 is my root. So it's my 5th root of 32. And we're going to cube it. So you have to ask yourself, what times what times what times what times what 5 times, which gives you 32. It's going to be 2. And we cube that. So now it's 2 times 2 times 2, which is 8. Did you get it correct? Check your answers. Make sure it's correct. Make sure you guys get the 5th root to the 3rd power. You guys didn't flip it because that's going to change the whole problem. And make sure you took the 5th root of 32, which is 2. And then make sure you cube that, which is 8. Alright, good job. Let's get ready for advanced level. Alright, last one, advanced. Let's try this. Let's try to trick you guys a little bit. 1 over 16 to the 3/4 power. Alright, we're going to use all the quotient property for this one. Which one's my power, which one's my root? Try your best, don't give up. You guys can do this. I'll give you about 30 seconds to a minute, and go. Alright, welcome back. Let's try this. So 4 is my root. And you take it to the 3rd power. Remember the rule that we used, if we're taking the 4th power to a fraction, we can split it up to top and bottom. And we cube this whole thing. So what is the 4th root of 1? That's 1. What is the 4th root of 16? What times what times what times 1? 16, which is 2. And then we cube that whole thing. So 1 times 1/2 times 1/2 times 1/2 is 1/8. That's my answer. This is not an easy problem. It's a tough one, but you know, we always have to try somewhere. We have to start somewhere until we get to where we want to get to. So always try it, and then we can always go back and fix your errors. We could figure out what your thinking is. We could fix that part. So check your answers real quick. If you got 1/8, great. If you didn't, just take a look where your mistakes were, and then we'll go on from there. Alright, that concludes radicals and rational expressions. Hopefully this video was helpful. If it was, please subscribe, turn on your notification, and let's get ready for our next video. Thank you.